We had to do it again. You hit it through the middle, you go to overtime, and it's wrapped, right? When I was chasing the roping a lot, I would rope the dummy so much. I would practice so much that by the time you go to a roping, it's all just, especially like in a World Series setup, that you rope in one pin, go to the next, and it's bang, bang, bang. Like, I felt like I'm in a practice field. Like, you don't even think about it. That's like, I love Kobe Bryant. That's one of my big guys that I, growing up, I just love how he worked. And that's the thing, is he said I would take a contested shot of me shooting it over passing it to my teammate because I was in the gym. They weren't in the gym. He said I saw their work. So if the game come down to a shot, I'm taking a fadeaway contested shot for me and trusting in my preparation over someone else. Financial fear. This one's kind of more for adults, but financial fear is very real. That's probably the surrounded in Dothan. As an adult, you'll feel more than anything, I feel. Some of us, we've been in I call it a let me see season. Let me see what I can sell. You know, you walk around like guys, I think it's still posted. Hopefully you'll have seen it. I have rocks for sale on Facebook. I don't know. They are decorative rocks, but I know, right? I'm only asking $200. I don't know what's going on. But in that financial fear, the servant, when they were surrounded, the servant was the first one to come out and see that they were surrounded. He starts panicking, right? Elisha walked out, no panic. Who are we operating as in that financial fear? Are we operating as a servant, or are we operating as Elisha? Another one I got from the girls was fear of others' opinions or approval. Fear of being embarrassed was a big one. So a lot of times, like especially like in school, even adults really, a lot of the times the people that make fun of others are the most insecure people you'll meet. Like, they belittle people, they tear people down to try to make themselves feel better about themselves. So a lot of times if you got somebody saying something about you, like, don't even give it an ounce of thought. Just move on. We're called to love everybody. That's hard when people are like that to you. If people are trying to stop you, like making fun of you or something, like, I'm telling y'all, a lot of y'all are too gifted to let someone's opinion stop you from doing what God's called you to do. If you're not the norm, like, grow up and go qualify for the NFR and see how them people that are making fun of you are trying to come back and be all buddy-buddy. People's opinion and approval, it's left and right. A lot of times they'll try to build you up too on a pedestal just to tear you down. So it doesn't matter. If you go off of if your life and your value is based off of other people's opinions, you give them a power to just tear you down. Now the world does say, like, don't care what people think, just go, who cares, move on, do what you want. You should care what people think to an extent of reputation. Like, I do want a good reputation. I want to try to go get a job if you don't care what people think. You know, like, you need people to have a good reputation about you. The fear of access is a big one. I would like to see how did the king of Aram find out that Elisha was in Dothan? Like, who did Elisha tell that told this person, that told that gave him the location of where to come and attack him? Be careful of who you're given access to on certain things. You might be the king of Israel. You know, I think about it like this too, as far as accessing just people. The map I saw, Samaria's here, Dothan's here, and the Armenian army territory was here. If Elisha is protecting Israel and their army, why would the king of Israel not have protection in front of Elisha, preventing an attack? If he's the most important person, who can you look at that you killing yourself protecting somebody? But there's, be careful of who you're bending over backwards for. That's not pouring back into you. Okay. Now, I'm not saying We gotta love everybody. So be careful of what I'm saying here, and then we're all getting it right. But at the end of the day, you got to be careful of who you give access to in that sense. And I know a lot of times we like to think of ourselves as the victim in the story. Can you think of anybody that's pouring into you that maybe you're not protecting like you should, or pouring back into like you should? Maybe it's financial, maybe it's encouraging, maybe it's praying for them. But that's something that we all we could all think of somebody that we could do a better job of that for. Quit telling people that who you're leading, of where you're going, or telling everybody of where you're going. Can you imagine if Elisha's leading all this blind army? Like, let's just think about that for a second, right? Army of chariots, they surrounded a whole town, so that's probably thousands of people, right? They're all blind. They have to travel 12 miles to Samaria. So Elisha has to lead blind people all that way. Can you imagine how hard that would be? That'd be a hard job, right? And if he tells them where they're going, do you think they're all just going to go willingly? Sometimes it doesn't benefit the people you're with or anybody, yourself. You're going to create battles for yourself, telling everybody your future plans. If God reveals it to you, do the next step and then get to the next part. I'm almost done on a few more. Has anybody ever felt stuck? Just like you're stuck in the same place and you can't, like nothing's moving, you're just the same. The fear of being stuck, God didn't just remove Elisha from that situation of being surrounded, right? It was an opportunity for revelation for others. God was wanting to show himself in his mercy and his grace to that Armenian army. God could have struck them all dead surrounding Elisha. But instead, he used Elisha to do all of that, to show mercy to them. He may use some stuff that's not fun for you, for others. And we just got to do our part to get through it. That's why I pray that the Lord, just lets me see opportunities more clear through difficulties I face, and for you as well. A lot of times, interruption will feel like disruption before it feels like direction. If I look back on my past 2 years, every hard thing that I've went through has led me to where I am. And, I'm accepted back into OSU. Got 2 classes to take this summer and get my bachelor's. Who knows? I don't do that if I don't go through the financial hardships that I did. I'm thankful for my season in Dothan. Like, it has made me so much stronger. It will make you stronger. I'm not out of it yet, but I did get a word from God on it, and I feel like this is for someone else as well. Zechariah 1:15 says, "But I'm very angry with the other nations that are now enjoying peace and security. I was only a little angry with my people, but the nations inflicted harm on them far beyond my intention. Therefore, this is what the Lord says, I have returned to show mercy to Jerusalem. My temple will be rebuilt, says the Lord of the heavens army, and measurements will be taken for the reconstruction of Jerusalem. This is what the Lord of the heavens army says, the towns of Israel will again overflow with prosperity, and the Lord will again comfort Zion and choose Jerusalem as his own." I feel like somebody here as well, like, we've had some attacks from the enemy, but he's went a little too far on some stuff. Like, y'all will step back and we'll let some things happen for you to learn some lessons. Maybe he redirects you to where he wants you. But the enemy will come in and do too much sometimes. And that's where God the Father, in my opinion, turns to God the Dad. And if any of us dads know that when someone's messing with your kid, like, that ain't cool. Like, that's where we start to fight, right? Almost done a few more. Sorry, y'all. I know I'm going quite long. Fear of accountability, right? My season of financial hardship, like, it wasn't the enemy. Sometimes the greatest enemy is the inner in me, right? It's my decisions that led me to where I was. The enemy stacked on top of it and hit me with more stuff, but you got to take accountability for the decisions you make and those kind of things. thing that I love with it all is when he showed up, when Elisha led the Arameans there, the king of Israel said, should we kill him? And he said, no, like feed him and send them on. Elisha didn't operate out of fear. He operated out of mercy and grace and strength, because he didn't ask for them to be killed. He asked for them to be made blind. He took action when he could have operated in fear. And that's what I feel like God is calling us to do. There is some healthy fear. To me, fear of getting outside of God's calling is a big one. I got outside of God's calling doing a lot of other stuff than just roofs that led to my financial decisions or my financial hardships. Had 3 fences blow over, had an outdoor kitchen go disastrous. What was the other one? But I redid them all. I lacked one. Still got one little bit to do. But I paid probably $36,000 out of my own pocket to redo jobs, because I'm not going to leave a customer with something off. But that was my decision to get out and doing that, and getting outside of God's call. That's what even doing this and rodeo and wherever you go in life, like, your biggest fear, shouldn't be being successful. Well, let me rephrase that. It shouldn't be failure. It should be being successful in something that God didn't assign you to do. Like, I will be successful. I could go do whatever. Like, I will be successful. But at the end of the day, when I face God, what does it all mean if I got a ton of money? And he said, but I called you to be, a rodeo coach. But you wanted to chase going to the NFR and being this, and you made it and you did it. But I called you to impact kids' lives being a college rodeo coach. Like, that is what I don't want to miss, is whatever God has assigned to me. And I feel like that's what y'all should too, okay? Doing this, my fear is leading someone astray, or even in my day-to-day leading someone astray. Even not meaning to, but just saying something that isn't right. I don't want to get ahead of God. Don't get ahead of God. Let God work in His timing. Don't try to force things and make things work. So to kind of recap it all, I feel like the 3 ropes that you can take from this is when something pops up, is this a reality or a possibility? Is this a what if, or is this, I gotta figure this out? And if it is a what if, what is your tool to face that with? Anyone remember?
I think I have written down somewhere, but just pretty much let God take care of it.
Yes. Then God. Okay? What if? Then God. Then God will handle it. God will fix it. God will provide something else. The second one. I usually have notes printed out, so it makes it a little easier. With this, it's kind of hard to say. Preparation, fear of failure. Prepare. Do your part, right? Like, let's see. If you're prepared, you've done your part, you can face yourself in the mirror. Whether miss, catch, win, lose, you can look yourself in the mirror and know, I did everything I could possibly do to be as successful as I can. I've learned more in my misses and my losing than I ever did in any win. If I go out and I wave one off, let's say I'm one of your kids, I go out here and I wave one off, and I come back with a positive attitude, and somebody like Stitches, right, sees you, and he rides over and he says, hey, you're doing this wrong, this or that. And then he fixes what caused that. Did you get more from that miss? Or what if you half-headed it, and then it fell, and then it caught, and then you went on, and he didn't come and say anything, but you placed third? What did you really benefit from? Right? If you come back with the attitude of throwing ropes and mad and this and that, nobody's probably going to ride over and give you any advice, right? So that's the other one. Okay, that's all I got. I hope you got something from it. Thank you for allowing me to come and share what God had for me to give. Send him a prayer, and we'll see you in the rodeo.